Markets are moving higher on this potential. Joining us now, Pennsylvania Congressman Lloyd Smucker. He's on the House Budget Committee. What can you tell us as a member of the Budget Committee, sir, what we should believe in what's going on? And maybe the big nugget here is that perhaps we have an Olympic-sized competition going on to reach a deal, and that's with both sides. That's good news, isn't it?
Well, I think any discussion in regards to finding a solution here are good. And there's been a lot of discussions occurring in both parties and in bipartisan discussions as well. I personally have been part of several groups that have been working for months to try to find a solution here. I think most of us believe that we should find a solution to ensure that the DACA folks that have been part of the DACA program should be able to stay here and be productive parts of society. But you know what I hear from people, both in our conference and people from all across the district, and that is we have to be sure we don't get here again in a few years. And so as a part of that deal, you have to have border security, you have to have effective interior enforcement, again, to ensure that we don't get here again. So I'm confident, based on the discussions that I've been part of and the discussions that have been reported, and there are a lot of them going on, I'm confident that we will, in the near future, find a solution.
Well, the debt ceiling, and that, of course, for those of you who don't quite understand what that is, it is the federal government's credit card, the borrowing limit. That, too, is very much hanging in the balance, and there's a ticking time bomb with that. We need money to move forward, and whether that means paying for what the president called an $18 billion he would like to see for at least a partial wall, and then the Children's Health Program initiative. So which ones do we look close on here? CHIP, which is that children's health care issue. It looks like the Congressional Budget Office came out a couple of hours ago saying that to extend it, which is what the Democrats want, is actually good because it could save money. Right. If you extend it for a decade, it could save $800 million. Well, it could save $6 billion, and that would be the cost, $800 million.
Yeah, there certainly was a good CBO score on CHIP. And this is another area where there's broad agreement on both sides of the aisle on the need to authorize this. There's been close staying in touch with states. Some states are running, they're at the end of their cycle. We must get this approved to ensure that kids do not lose coverage. Again, this is another one that I think will come together. You're going to see a lot coming together here in the next week or so, and I believe this will as well.
That is music, I think, to many of our viewers' ears. We're looking at close to session highs, but record highs for our 5 major indexes. That would be Dow, NASDAQ, S&P, Russell 2000, also the transports. Senator Warren, who, of course, as you know, is pretty left. She's, of course, a Democrat from Massachusetts. She told Bret Baier last night, I thought it was a pretty interesting interview. She told him, I don't want to see any of that, meaning the government shutdown, come to pass. And I like hearing what you said, that we look like we are certainly close on this. In the end, can you just, as we finish up, tell me what a deal on DACA and a border enforcement would do for working on something like infrastructure, a $1 trillion infrastructure plan that this country would love to see?
Well, I'm not sure that those issues will be tied together. In fact, I don't think they should be.
But does it set a tone, is what I mean, if you get bipartisan help on this deal in DACA?
I think you're going to see bipartisan support for DACA, and I think you'll see bipartisan support for an infrastructure package. This is another, and as a member of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, I know that there's been a lot of work by our chairman, by members of the committee, by the administration on infrastructure, and there's been bipartisan discussions. I'm also part of a group called the Problem Solvers, which is equally Democrat and Republican. We just yesterday presented a series of ideas about how to discuss infrastructure package going forward. And so, yes, I think this is another really good opportunity for bipartisan support.
Congressman Smucker, great to see you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.